Welcome and thank you for joining. My name is Solange Patarroyo. I am health educator for community health and Atlantic Health System. Today, the webinar, Are You Keeping Your Grandchildren Safe? Is presented by KJ Feury RN at the Injury Prevention in Morristown. She's a coordinator for this program. Before we begin, I have a few announcements. All participants are mute. If you have questions, please use the Q&A button and use the chat feature for comments. We will try to get through all questions at the end of the presentation. We have a slide for Atlantic Health behavioral health. If you have any questions or you want to schedule an appointment for behavioral health service, please call 1-888-247-1400. And now I'm going to it over to JK for start to present for our presentation. Thank you. Welcome, KJ.
Thank you very much. Okay. Can everyone see my slides? And can everyone hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yes, very good. So home sweet home, keeping it safe as by caring for our grandchildren. My name is KJ Feury. I'm a nurse practitioner for the trauma service at Morristown Medical Center. And my role here is really dual based. I have some clinical responsibility, but I also am the coordinator for the injury prevention program for the trauma service at Morristown Medical Center. As a trauma center for New Jersey, we are verified as a level 1 center. We cover Morris, Warren, and Sussex County. And our program was established in 1992. We see about 2,500 trauma patients a year. 120 of them there around are pediatric admissions. And the patients that we see are injured at home, on the road, and at play. And as part of our very diversified team, our injury prevention program mirrors the patient population that we see. So in an ideal world, we don't want to see any of these injuries happening. So we try to be a resource for our community, find our local champions, and share the best practice information for injury prevention to the area that we serve. The injury prevention program is essentially a community-based program. Our funding partners are New Jersey Highway Traffic Safety and Safe Kids Worldwide. And our program is entitled Northern New Jersey Safe Kids, Safe Communities. Our mission really works along with the Trauma Center, but specifically for injury prevention, we want to reduce fatalities, injuries, and property damage due to unintentional injuries at home, on the road, and at play. Our programming for injury prevention is all grant and donor funded. It's volunteer-based, and we strive to be a resource center for Northern New Jersey on injury prevention. So any day of the week, we get numerous calls from agencies, businesses, corporations, individuals who are looking to clarify just how they can be safer and avoid injury. Our Safe Communities grant funding came in 1998, and we became a Safe Kids Coalition in 2000. Every year we have about 70 community partners, and we reach about 15,000 families each year with our programming. So we really are webbed into the community. Since 1998, we've received about $3 million in grant funding, and we find that we have been successful in educating our community by listening, working with them, engaging them, and thanking them for working alongside of us. We're committed to our partners and work with them to provide programming across the lifespan. So it's with children, newborns in car seats, to our elementary school children, high school kids, college kids, and young adults. When we look to meet our community leaders and work with them, because people in the community, when they have an issue, they're not going to be able to find us at the hospital, but what they will do is go to their local resources, their fire, their police departments, maybe their local hospital. So we work with them to give them the best information possible. When it comes to driving, our two really foundation programs are our Buckle Up program. We have our Share the Keys program for teen drivers. We also have our Car Fit program, which is for our mature drivers to help them have the safest fit when they're driving. Our child passenger safety program has really expanded over the years to really help parents and caregivers be able to transport their children in a very safe manner, using the proper car seat that fits their child and the car. You could see on this slide, we list our 7 car seat stations where they're held. And they have 12 sessions a month where residents can come and have their car seat inspected, get some information and education to be sure that they're transporting children properly. Now, not only do parents and caregivers come, but we have a whole lot of grandparents as well. And these stations are held in Chester at the First Aid Squad, Denville Fire Department, Mount Tabor Volunteer Fire Department, and that is on South Powderville Road, across from the De Pasquale's strip mall on Route 10, Shade Tree Garage, the Fairfield Fire Department, Pompton Lakes First Aid Squad, and up in Sussex County, right down on in town center in one of their community buildings. So there's plenty of opportunities for parents, caregivers, and grandparents alike to learn how to utilize their car seat properly. Another big initiative is our Hats Off for Helmets campaigns. And we are one of the few states in our region that really have a 4-season sporting environment. So we need to consider safety when it comes to our winter sports as well. So we run a very vibrant Hats Off for Helmets program, which encourages children and adults alike to wear ski or snowboard helmets when they're participating in winter sports. We also encourage the use of helmets for bicycles, scooters, skateboards, ATVs, and snowmobiles. The risk areas we cover are child passenger safety, distracted driving. We have a mature driver program. That's our car fit program. Teen driving, falls, especially for our kids who are 55 and older, because falls are a huge uh, game changer to really see a decline in health. Home safety, sports safety, water safety, bike safety, pedestrian and medication safety. When we talk about keeping your grandchildren safe, I'm going to hone in on a few topics today, which I think will give you some sound information as we move in to our summer season as well. So, the first thing we need to think about is supervision and being a positive role model. And I think these are the two steps that need to be taken first as parents, caregivers, and grandparents when we're with children. They need to be watched. They need to be supervised. They're impulsive. They're quick. They don't always have a full understanding. So if we are watching them, and I mean truly watching them, not sitting by the lakeside looking at our or reading off our Kindle, we could avoid injuries. So supervision is key. And the second thing is we need to be a positive role model. You know, when we go out bike riding, we need to be wearing a helmet. When we are in cars, we need to put our phones away and not text and drive. We need to wear our seatbelts. When we're walking in town, we need to walk and cross at the corner, at the intersection, not in the middle of the roadway. Those are things our children take notice of, and they follow our example. So being a positive role model is key. So the areas we'll talk about today are child passenger safety, water safety, fire safety, medication, TV tip overs. We'll talk about the key safety devices and teenagers, how to work with them. So when we talk about child passenger safety, right now there are 4 stages that we need to identify when we're talking about car seat safety. First of all, when we're talking about car seat safety, the first piece is using a seatbelt. Now, a seatbelt really is key for people who are over 4'9", and because that's where you can use a seatbelt safely. So for our young children, they need to be in a car seat and be secured with the seatbelt holding the seat in, unless the car seat has latch devices on them. Children who are rear facing, all right, are generally under 2 years old. And we have them rear facing in the car in the back seat so that the back of the car seat cradles the child's head, which is the most vulnerable part for injury. And it's really the most vulnerable because for children under 2 years old, their head is very large and they have very limited neck stability. So we need to cradle their head in a rear-facing car seat to be sure that they can remain safe. The harness straps on the rear-facing car seats need to be secure. Right now, we're at the time of year here in New Jersey where we have a lot of change in our weather patterns. I mean, one day it's warm, the next day it's, 30 degrees. But when a child is in a car seat with a harness strap, you want the harness strap as tight and as close to the body as possible. So we want to avoid wearing big bulky bulky clothes underneath that harness system. It's much better just to put a blanket over a child, warm the car up beforehand, and handle the temperature changes like that. So our rear-facing car seats, once again, are for children under 2. Most of the rear-facing car seats go up to about 30 pounds, and that is the safest way to transport a child um, at this point in time. Once the child is 2 years old or is bigger than the recommended height and weight on the rear-facing seat, we may move the child to a forward-facing car seat, which is identified in our second photo here, the yellow placard. And with the forward-facing seat, we have a 5-point harness system. And you can see it's identified by the white straps, meaning that the child is secured in the seat at 5 points. 2 at the shoulders, 2 at the hips, and 1 in the crotch area. Again, you want these harness straps as tight as possible, meaning that you don't want to be able to pinch them up. And the harness clip, which is that black clip up at the top of the Y, you want that right at the armpit level. When the seat is in the car, it's either attached with the seat belt or with the latch component into the latch anchors, which are located between the seat bite in your vehicle. You want the seat not to move side to side, no more than an inch. So if the seat is in tight, the child in the harness tight, if you were to be in a car crash, injuries would be much lessened. And the reason for that is the seat and the harness absorb the crash forces, not the child. Once the child is over 40 pounds, the child can be moved to a booster seat. So we have 2 types of booster seats. They both have a bottom, like on the green placard here. Some of them, a high back, may have a back on the seat as well. And this seat is the booster seat's purpose is just to lift the child up so that the child is up in the seat a little bit higher, and that the lap shoulder belt of the seat belt can be placed on the appropriate body parts for the child. You want them going across the hard bones, the shoulder, and then the lap belt across the hips. Once it is clicked in, the child's weight will hold the booster seat in place, and the seat belt will hold the child in place. One of the things we see here many times is that the children kind of poke their arm and put the shoulder strap like under their arm. When that happens, they lose the ability to have the seatbelt hold their chest in place. And if you were to be in a crash, they could propel forward. So we really want to be sure that the lap shoulder belt is across the center of the chest, the lap portion of the chest across the hips, and the child is sitting in an upright position. Once we move out of our booster seat, which is generally when the child is about 8 years old or 57 inches or more or less around 80 pounds, they will go to utilize just the seatbelt in the car. And again, you want the seat belt to be across the lap shoulder belt, across the center of the chest and across the hard bones, the pelvis area. Now, many cars have an adjuster on the side panel where you can lower the seat belt a little bit so that the lap portion of the seat belt does not cut across the child's neck. So you want to look at your car and see if that is an option if you are transporting children with just a seat belt. Now, many people ask me, when can my child sit in the front seat? Well, the safest place for everyone is the back seat. So ideally, we recommend children not under 12 sit in the back seat at all times with the appropriate car seat, booster, or seat belt, depending upon their size. That would be the safest position. Now, if you go to our car seat stations, we can really help troubleshoot different issues for you. Which child would you put in the center position in the seat? Where is the safest position? The second seat or the third seat, and can kind of help you or guide you through some of the issues around that. So certainly, if you do transport your grandchildren often, you may want to stop in one of our car seats. If the children are with you, certainly that's easier, but if they're not, we can still help you work through the process. So I think right now that would be it for child passenger safety, but certainly, we need to talk about distractions and speeding and following the rules of the road. These are all issues that certainly increase the propensity to have a crash if you're not. So certainly put those cell phones away, be familiar with the electronic devices that are in your vehicle, avoid any hands-on devices while driving, and certainly be aware of the environment, your speed limits, and drive defensively. So timely enough, spring has sprung, and before we know it, the summer will be here. And over the next couple of weeks, many people will be opening their backyard pools and beginning to spend some more time waterside. And when we talk about water safety, we really have our ABCs. A for adults, active adult supervision. B for barriers. This certainly comes into play when we're talking about pools and also barriers or buoys in lakes. And then C is for classes. And the classes are twofold, both swim lessons or classes for your children, and also CPR classes for you. So when we talk about active adult supervision, it means really watching our children. Even if we go to a lake or the ocean where there are lifeguards, we need to have extra sets of eyes on our children. Children are quick, they're agile, they love the water, but they need to learn how to respect the water and understand their swimming ability. So keeping an active look at them is key. We talk about our Water Watcher program, which is best used for backyard pool parties, where every half hour someone is the water watcher, counting heads in the pool. At that time, they're not flipping burgers, they're not taking a phone call, they're not in an active discussion. Their job is to watch the children in the pool. And then every 15, 20, or 30 minutes, we switch that rule so that a new person is watching the children and knows who's there to be sure everybody is above water. When we talk about barriers and swimming pools, we're talking about fencing, gating, alarms, different types of gate systems if it's a built-in pool. And barriers, when we're talking about lakeside, may be a buoy system that identifies where the water may, or the lake may drop off to a deeper end. We need to be aware of them, make sure they're in place, and make sure our children know about them and try to get them to understand that as well. When it comes to water classes, CPR is key, because if a water event does occur, CPR will be the first action needed to be taken. CPR classes are given at most hospitals by the American Red Cross and the American Heart Association. Many indoor pools, the YMCA, and local civic groups hold classes. I would encourage you all to take one. Swim classes for children are very important as well. They teach children life-saving skills on how to swim, but that does not take away the need for barriers and active adult supervision, even if your child or grandchild has progressed through a swimming program and can swim. We really need to keep an active eye on them at all times. When we talk about fire safety, fires happen a whole lot more than we anticipate. But burns are probably one of the #1 reason children are taken to the emergency department. And serious burns, 3rd-degree burns, can occur with contact with heat, not only flame, but just with heat in less than a second. Our fireplace glass, whether it's a gas burning fireplace or a wood burning, the glass can be upwards of 400 degrees. A hair iron, flat iron or curling iron, they can get up to 400 degrees. Baking a cake, our ovens, we generally start at 350 degrees. And we all know that water can boil at 212 degrees. So these are areas where we really need to, again, supervise and keep our children, especially our young toddlers, at a distance, because they are probably the ones who are most curious and can get injured. You may want to put an extra fence or kind of like a penned area in front of your fireplace. You want to be sure with your curling irons and hair irons that the cords are not hanging and dangling down, because if a young child goes by the bathroom counter and knocks the cord, the iron will fall and possibly hit them. Our ovens, especially our range ovens that have ovens on the bottom, are right at our toddler and young children's height. And certainly when we're boiling water or cooking, we want to use, with children around, we want to try to alleviate having kids in the kitchen, and also use the back burners with the handles pointing towards the back to avoid any spillage. Now, many of you may remember having fire drills, whether it be in your schools when you were a young child or maybe in your place of business. But how many of you have ever done a fire drill in your home? How many of you have your children sleep over occasionally at your house? This is something we need to consider. Fires generally occur at night many times, and many times you have less than 2 minutes to get out of your house. How will you and your family or your visiting grandchildren get out safely? We need to go over this. And this is something you need to look at the plan of your house. If you have a ranch, certainly children and adults can exit out windows. If you have a fire escape, if you're in an apartment building, where is your safe meeting place? On our website, we have a lot of information about fire safety, or we can provide you with some additional information. Also, you can contact your local fire department, and they will and can advise you on the safest way to get out of your house. But certainly practicing a fire drill at night in the dark is a good idea. Believe it or not, October 15th is Home Fire Safety Drill Day. And this is a day where we advertise actually practicing a fire drill. But certainly being only April, I hope that sometime between now and October, you could certainly plan a drill with your family and grandchildren so you all know how to escape safely. So medication safety also puts many children at risk. And I'd like to play this short little video for you.
I can't believe she did that. I can't can't believe she did that. I can't believe she did that.
Parenting is full of surprises, so expect the unexpected. Keep all medicine out of reach and out of sight. To learn more, visit safekids.org.
Okay, so certainly children are curious. That's what this is showing us. And I believe we need to keep ahead of them to avoid unanticipated medicine poisonings and trips to our emergency room. So one of the first things we need to do is certainly keep medication out of reach of our children. As adults living in our homes with no children, we may get a little laxed in this and keep medication maybe on a bedside stand or just out on a counter, so we remember to take it. But certainly that's easy access for kids. When it comes to child-resistant packaging, that's not child-proof. Kids have very good dexterity and can open almost anything. They will climb, reach, and explore. So sometimes just putting something up out of reach is not enough. It needs to be out of sight. Medication looks like candy to children. Certainly, pills in a small bottle sounds like a rattle. So again, it's enticing to children, and we need to put the stuff away. And we need to know where we keep our medication. If we're traveling, say, to our children's homes, and there are grandchildren or younger kids there, and we just put our pocketbook on the floor, and our pocketbook has medication in it, it's very accessible to children. So we need to become a little more conscious of putting things up and away so that children don't see it. Over the next few months, we certainly anticipate some additional child medication poisonings from with the new cannabis distribution centers that will be opening. With marijuana being legalized here in New Jersey, we probably will see more children coming to the emergency room with marijuana overdoses from eating edible marijuana, which comes in, gum and gummy bear type, and in different types of specialized packaged food. So if any of your family members are utilizing recreational marijuana, we certainly want that to be up and away and out of sight so that children cannot get it. And then there also comes the point of how that should be secured with older children who may be looking to experiment with marijuana, whether it be an edible or some other type of point of the drug. Oops. TV tip-overs has become an added problem that we see in our emergency rooms. With the onset of the flat screen TVs, many people are upgrading and getting rid of their big, heavier TVs to these very light, flat screen TVs. Although they are recommended to really be put on a wall, many people are putting them on these beautiful pieces of furniture. But certainly, if they are not secured to the wall or to the furniture, if a child goes up and pulls on, say, on this image, that gray bar, that TV could come down and really fall on top of the child. So proper securing of TVs is key. They should be mounted on the flat screen TVs on a wall with secure strapping that fits the TV. We also want to look at the old TVs. Many people just kind of put them in a back bedroom on a old dresser or down in the basement in a room where they may not be used as much, just not to get rid of them. But again, then you have a piece of furniture that's not bracketed to the wall and a heavier TV on. So we really do recommend recycling those old TVs if they're not going to be utilized. The other thing is you want to keep the TV remotes out of the hands of children. Those remotes have small batteries in them, which if the child does get those batteries and puts them in the mouth and swallow them, they are very corrosive and can certainly cause internal damage and long hospitalizations and very problematic for these kids. So when we talk about TVs, we want them secured to the wall, best if attached right to or mounted on the wall. Recycle your old TVs and certainly keep the remotes out of the hands of young children. So we have our teenagers. You know, teenagers certainly are going through a very trying time and a very fun time in their lives. The way we live right now with social media and internet access, the kids are aware of a whole host of things. And sometimes grandparents really can have a special relationship with their grandchildren and kind of can talk to them a little differently than their parents can. I would encourage all of you as grandparents and as your children, your grandchildren become teenagers, remember to talk to them about the friends they're meeting, the decisions they're making, engage them in discussion about driving, the use of seatbelts, what it's like to be a passenger in a vehicle and feel comfortable. What do you do when you're not comfortable? About, you know, the use of helmets and being safe and who they can call if they feel they're not safe. Many times a grandparent could be a good safe zone for a teenager. So I'd encourage you to keep the lines of communication open with them and certainly engage them in keeping themselves safe and well. So if we had to pick 4 safety devices that we utilize the most in our programming, first of all, it's a seatbelt and a car seat. Second, it would be the use of a life jacket or a personal flotation device, especially for our young children. We see many families using those little swimmies or blow up type of tubing to keep those kids afloat. They really should be in a true Coast Guard approved life jacket. Those other devices pop, take on water, and really cannot hold a child up. The blue helmet here is a bike helmet. So both adults and children should be using a bike helmet when they are riding a bike, scooter, or skateboard. And then we have the gray helmet in the bottom is a ski helmet, which would be the helmet that is used for skiing and snowboarding. So these are devices that all adults and children should be wearing to really minimize the risk of injury when participating in transportation or water, cycling, or snow sports. So to stay in the know, how can you stay up on all of this information? Well, certainly reading is a great place. Our website, www.preventionworks-nj.org has ongoing information and good sound safety, research-based information to keep you in the know. We do have a Facebook and a Instagram account, Safe Kids Northern New Jersey, and there not only do we share programs that we're doing, but also some sound safety information. You can also, there's lots of reputable websites, you know, New Jersey Highway Traffic Safety, Safe Kids Worldwide, AAA, the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, all has information as well on safety that would be good for you and your family. So with this, I think we'll close for now. I'll take any questions. You can put them in the chat and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, KJ. So yes, we have a question. Let me see, I saw. Okay, no, we don't have any questions so far, but please, if you have any question, you can put in the Q&A or in the chat. Yes, they asked me, KJ, if we can share your presentation by email.
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay, perfect. So we are more than happy to share this because I think that was a key presentation for safe our kids, and any suggestions that we have, because we forget too many things the day of daily that we forget. And we know that kids are very curious right now at home. We're waiting for one more minute. So that concludes our webinar. Thank you for joining us, and a special thank you for you, KJ, for dedicate your time and expertise this afternoon. If you have any questions or comments, send an email to communityhealth@atlantichealth.org or call us at 1-800-844-472-8499. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.